Nick. I don't know what to call you because I'm a huge fan, but I'm super pumped you're on the show.
Well, thank you. I'm a big fan of yours as well. Whenever you would come on American Idol, I would yell, Bobby Boone!
Well, let me start with the question that I want to ask because I do want to get to your new show. But, I would watch you as Ron Swanson. Do people ever just go, Ron, out in public from Parks and Rec?
Yeah, sadly, they call me Ron more than they call me anything else.
And how do you feel about doing so good at your job that people call you by that name more than they do Nick or Mr. or whatever you prefer to be called?
Well, you can call me Jackass or Nick. Mr. Offerman was my grandfather. He was the mayor of Manuka, my hometown. But I take it as a compliment, sort of just as you put it. If my work was effective enough that they think I'm that guy, then that means my college should be proud.
You're doing this show called Making It, which is why we have you on today. And not only are you hosting the show, but you got a big title. You're a fancy executive producer, which means you control the show as well. You're also with Amy Poehler on this show. So when you're working with somebody, and I can ask her the same question, that is also so funny, is it sometimes hard to get stuff done because the other person that you're working with is so freaking hilarious?
Well, in a way, it can be, but we've been working together for so long that when we were younger, we sort of got the inefficiencies out of the way, where we would be overindulgent and just keep cracking each other up and laughing, and the boss would have to say, "Okay, you guys, we've only got so many hours. There's only so many feet of film in the camera," and by now we said, okay, so now we are efficient with our jackassery. We'll make each other laugh, but then we'll say, okay, let's get this shot. So we've become good. Maybe that's how you become an executive producer, is you learn to find the right balance.
Talk about this show for a second and what exactly the creatives are doing on this show.
Well, that's my favorite part of the show, really, is the amazing things that the genius of crafters can come up with. Each of these people is their own different, like, fairy or elf or magical wizard creature, and you give them all a box of popsicle sticks and a ball of twine, and they all build just entirely different universes. And that's what it's about. Amy and I love to be smartasses and like celebrate these talents while we're like making each other laugh and hopefully making the audience laugh. And that just makes it a dream job. There's so much negativity in the world these days. It feels nice to bring a full dose of just positive medicine into people's homes.
So Making It features craftspeople that are good with making different things with their hands, and they're competing for money. And I've watched you do woodworking before. I'm a fan, Nick. I'm just going to admit it. I'm a super fan. So just let me in. I'm just going to indulge myself in a few questions here. As you're doing woodworking, but you see other people coming in and doing this, at times, are you more of a fan of them than they are you because of what you also enjoy?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not like a shiny movie star. I've never been like an obvious. My whole life, I don't walk into a room and people go, "Oh my God, it's Brad Pitt," or something like that. And so, I generally don't assume people are my fans or that they're familiar, especially with my woodworking. And my woodworking, while I'm very proud of it, is more conventional. Like I built some canoes, but I didn't design them. I built them off of a brilliant crafter's designs. And so when I see these people on our show making these things that they're pulling out of their own imaginations, to me, in the world of making, they're the superheroes, and I'm a mere civilian punching my clock.
Nick Offerman's on with us. His new show is called Making It on NBC. Premieres June 24th. It premieres actually tonight. It is on tonight.
Yeah.
So all these dates. I don't even know what day it is anymore. 8, 7 Central. It's the third season of the show, but you guys watch the episode here. I have 3 questions left. I'm just going to walk you through what I'm going to ask you about. Your whiskey, 1 more Parks and Rec questions, and a past movie. Are you okay with those 3 topics?
I'm happy to be with you, sir.
All right. I've seen your whiskey on sale at stores for $69. Coincidence or on purpose?
They should, right after the price tag should just be a card that says "nice."
Okay, I was watching We're the Millers. It was on TBS the other day. You were in that with Jennifer Aniston and Jason Sudeikis. When you're filming a big movie like that, and you'd mentioned earlier about you and Amy Poehler, I mean, when you watch other people that are so great at what they do, is it hard not to just crack up? And when you do crack up in a shot, is everybody like, "Come on, Nick, we almost had it"?
No, I think part of being a professional is most of the time we keep it together. I think that's one of the required skills. And so as long as you're good most of the time, then once in a while, especially with people like Sudeikis or Catherine Hahn, who played my wife, or Amy Poehler, or when I'm working with my wife Megan Mullally, like it's understandable. Once in a while, you're going to bust, and people are pretty forgiving as long as you can then reel it back in and get the job done.
All right, one final question as we talk to Nick Offerman. He's host, executive producer of Making It, which if you like to see stuff made with people's hands, it is an amazing show. My final question is, I'm going to ask you about Chris Pratt, because as being a Parks and Rec fan, was it weird for you to watch Chris, the funny, kind of dopey character at least, turn into the ripped Hollywood action star that we see now?
You know, it actually wasn't. When I first met him, it was a few years before Parks and Rec started. I met him at a pool party, and I just thought, who is this superhero? Like, why is this guy? He's going to be a superhero someday, and because he has it all. He has the body, but he's also so funny and smart and charming, and so Parks and Rec was kind of impressive because I was like, now check out the superhero, put on a bunch of weight, and it's so hilarious. But then finally, the superhero kicked in, and I was like, oh, I thought so. So, that guy was dealt the right hand of cards by Mother Nature. So I'll never be surprised when he pulls off superhuman feats.
Well, let me thank you again for spending a little time with us. You guys can follow him on Instagram at Nick Offerman. The show is Making It. It is crazy to watch what people do on this show, especially if you like to see stuff built or made. It is a fantastic show. Thank you, Nick, for your time, and maybe one day I'll run into you in a fancy place.
I hope so, and my pleasure. Bobby Bones!
All right, there he is. Nick Offerman, everybody.
It's a Bobby